Well, I think we had a very good start. We kept the ball well, and we got into good areas. And I think as well, our pressing was very good. We pressed the ball very well, and we got into the pockets in possession, and we had a few opportunities. I think with Bradley, with a little bit of luck, I think we should have buried the game in the first half. But second half, it became a little bit of an open game, and we became impatient as well. And our two attacking midfielders never really got into good, effective areas like they were doing in the first half. And so we had to make changes, bring in a little bit of fresh legs, brought in Gabuza, brought in Jesse, brought in Aubrey. And we could also get, our quality back in our possession. And we kept on probing. I think we had, opportunities with a little bit of luck as well. We could have scored a penalty. But I was impressed with the role, with an overall performance, though I think we would have done better.
This is the time of the calculators. They're at the top. You have Paris this weekend. I'm sure you'll know better than anyone that the win there will almost eliminate them for that third spot, which you are going for. Is that what you're looking at achieving this weekend?
Look, for us at the moment is to just try and take it one game at a time. I think that's very important. We don't want to really look way ahead of ourselves. I'm focusing more on our performance and and building as well for next season, because we don't really have enough time to prepare. If we're going to start on the 9th of October, I think we're using this also as part of our preparation for next season. So we're taking it one game at a time, and also try and be better than last season, finish better than last season.
Coach, talking about taking it one game at a time, at this stage, sitting in that third spot is something that we've spoken about before, because this would be your best finish in the top four, I think, in 7 years. And I think it's also the right time for you to reflect on this season. I know that previously you've said if you had taken your chances, you would have been maybe 3 points clear at this stage.
Yeah, it's the way we are at the moment. It also make you look back. I've always mentioned some few games which I thought in the first round as well, Black Leopards, I think the same fixture. They equalized. I think it was in the 89th minute, and for us it was 2 points dropped. Stellenbosch as well. That although it was at home as well, and they equalized. I think in the 80th minute when we were leading. So those are some of the games which we can look back and say we could have done better. But at the moment, you can't be too critical, to the team, because if you look at our team, it's a team which is really changing. Which has changed a lot from the team I took over. The team which got into the CAF Confederations Cup final. We had the two souls. We had the we had the James Keane, Morgan Gold, and all those players are no longer there. And we trying to bring in fresh, legs in terms of bringing in a lot of youngsters. And you saw, Kampani Lungu. He's been probing in terms of, itching to get, game time. And I think this has been an opportunity, for him to show his quality, and he's done that. And I'm really happy for him because he deserves it. A hardworking, youngster, as well as, Jesse Don, there's Luke Flares. So he was solid today. But we're demanding a little bit more in terms of consistency from our young players. So we are trying to build a very strong team which is capable of also challenging for owners, with players who've got hunger and desire. And that's very critical for us.
Yes, Coach, talking about Lungu, is he the same player he was back then where you spotted him during the COSAFA Cup few years ago here in Polokwane?
Yeah, he's only 22. I think we've had him for a season now. This is his second season. I think it has given him a little bit of time as well to settle. But I think with his work ethic, it's easy for him to adapt. He has adapted very well, and I think next season we'll see a lot of him. And he's quite a good player in terms of finishing. He's a brilliant finisher. And I'm looking forward to have for him to have a full season under his belt. We still have a lot to see. He still has a lot to offer. The team. But life in the bubble, I think for us, I've been telling the players that we've got to show a little bit of appreciation because. During lockdown in isolation, when we couldn't, train, when we had to do our training sessions in isolation, I would get, messages and calls, from the players, always asking me, when are we going back? When are we going back? And you could, realize, that the players were a little bit worried, for their careers as well, because it's something new, something that could have been taken away from us just like that. So for us, this has given us an opportunity, to bond again as a team, because we built our team around, unity, family, environment, and the players really missed each other. And I can see now we're not having any problems. The players are enjoying it. We are using this, opportunity for us to bond again and build our team again. Because during lockdown, 4 months is it's a long time when you don't see your players, you don't see your teammates, and that bond was a little bit broken. So we're trying to rebuild that as well. That's why I spoke about next season. We're preparing as well for next season, and this is the time we are doing that. Coming back to Bradley, look, Bradley is a very experienced player. He's someone who's very key in our attacking structure. He gets into good areas. Probably you might be right that he was a little bit over anxious, to get that goal. But me, I look at his overall performance, his overall contribution to the team. That's very important, and he makes us play. He gets into good areas as well, and he's done that. Today we had a little bit of opportunities with a little bit of lucky, and also credit to the goalkeeper. I think the goalkeeper did well. That's why King he did very well. That's why he was man of the match. So I can't really be too hard on Bradley, because I think his overall performance was very good. So that's what I have to focus on.
Thank you, Coach. Good afternoon. Good evening, Coach.
Evening, Sandy.
Ditlokwe, we've obviously gotten used, to your Clayton Daniels, Moani Kumalo, those type of defenders at Supersport, but Ditlokwe has come in and he's caught the eye, his flexibility at the back, the ability to play also just across a number of positions. What does he bring to a team like Supersport, and most importantly, what sort of a career, a PSL career, do you predict for him, seeing that he's in his early days in South African football?
Look, Ditlokwe is the national team captain of the Zebras, Botswana, and he's also only 22. When we scouted him, we looked at different things in terms of his qualities, his leadership qualities, and his solidness in defense, his aggression, and also discipline. He is very disciplined. Is one for the future, and probably he might be one of the captains of the team going forward. And also he's left-footed. He's not one player who shies away from tackles, and he can also play. We can build up from the back with him, and he can also play at left back, which is what we are looking for. That's why I spoke earlier about building a team, but we've got to build a team with the right players, because in this industry, you are expected to win. you are expected to, you know, to get results. It doesn't matter whether you are building or not. So we have to bring in the right players with the right mentality, the right attitude, players who've got hunger and desire, you know, to succeed. As much as they are young, we still have another one, Moses Waiswa, who's not feeling well, who's not in the bubble. He's also 22. He's from Uganda. He's a national team, you know, player as well. He plays for the Cranes. So we have players like also Clayton Daniels. That's why we have him, you know, to also offer support to the younger players. You know, that's very important. That's where Ronwen, Bradley, you know, they come in, you know, in that regard. And also Tebza stepping up, you know, to take over the role which was, you know, which, you know, Dean Femen used to, you know, to play, you know, for the team, because those are the players who played alongside Dean Femen, someone who, and they've seen how a professional behaves, how a professional, you know, trains. And you need to have such players around your team, around your young players, so that they can learn, you know, from.
Just when you're talking about sort of giving opportunities to young players, I think, and them filling up certain roles that were left by some players. One role that was really headlined was that of Dean Furman. But then you're sort of seeing the likes of Kebuchos and Mule and Weber there in the center, sort of having put up their hand. How happy have you been in terms of their, you know, how they've responded to the role that you've given them, to say, let them go and fill that void and let it feel like, you know, Dean Furman is either not gone, but filling that role. And also, how much are you preparing them? I know sort of the Olympics are coming this year, but these are the boys that are going to be playing a huge role in the South African team. Are you pushing them, as you are saying, to be mentally strong for even the roles that's going to come in, you know, for the Olympics? Have you started having those conversations with them?
Yeah, you know, look, what's important is for them to do well for the team first, and it's easy for them to make, you know, the Olympic team. So if they're not performing for the club, I don't think they will be able to to go to the Olympics. But you know, look, Dean has just been, you know, gone for the past, you know, 3 months, and I think we played our first game, the bubble, without him. And so far, you know, so good. But we are very demanding as well as a club, you know, to those players, you know, in terms of consistency. So we want them to be a little bit more consistent. Give us 20 to 25 games, you know, per season, because that's what Dean was giving us. And I know Tebza can do that, but I'm a little bit, you know, demanding more from Sipo and Jamie, you know, to be a little bit more consistent, you know, finish the game, play 90 minutes. So those are the few things that we are demanding from these young players, because it's very key. They've got to understand that there is pressure, and they've got to take the pressure.
Okay, Coach, just still on this youth talk, because most people are saying School of Excellence is dead, but I think Supersport United is proving that it's the opposite. I noticed that on the bench today you had Mkhalo, you also had the Apolis, and you also had Rasibucha in the previous game on the bench. Just in terms of the progress of these boys, Apolis, yes, has played. Are you expecting to throw them in before you finish the BSE? How are they progressing? And also, if you can just give us what you are expecting to see on Thursday. You'll be sitting on the couch watching between Chiefs and Sundowns and the implications of the result there in the title race.
Look, coming to the young players like Apolis and Iniesta. Iniesta, we got him from the School of Excellence. And he only joined us in January, but he's a young player with promising talent. And as well as Hape Moralo, who's been, in our academy. So, bringing them into the bubble is so, to give them, that experience. You dangle a carrot a little bit, these young players to realize this is what they can achieve. This is what happens when you are with the first team. But at the same time as well, they shouldn't be taking this for granted. You know, when you bring them here, they've got to want it. And these guys have shown it. Probably will give them an opportunity, you know, to play in the last game. Because you need to play, you know, you need to prepare youngsters. When you're going to play youngsters, you've got to prepare them. That's why when I throw in Jesse Don, throw in Kapani Lung, I throw in Sipombule, Jamie Weber, it's because I've prepared them. We've prepared them properly. You know, it's not just by accident. We know when they are ready, and we know when they are not ready. And with Iniesta and Oswin, probably they still have another season to play in the MDC, but still train with the first team. That's very important. Coming into the Thursday's game, for us, we don't get involved in other people's business.